What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to today's episode of Solutions. So, on today, I'm going to be discussing why I personally made the decision to wait to have kids. So, this may seem like something that we did previously, and I promise you that it's not. This is a very very focused video on things that I went through personally, and you either went through or are actively going through, or could prevent your kids from going through down the line. So, with that said, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the video. My household, or I'm gonna say households, structure was I had my dad and I had my mom in my life. Neither one of them had a good relationship or lack thereof with their father, and had a pretty good relationship with their mom. And honestly, I could see how the absence of the father figure in the home really played an impact in both of their personalities in life and in parenting specifically. And in my dad's case, he took the initiative to do better than his dad did. And in my mom's case, honestly, it kind of gave her a hard exterior. It gave her a very masculine energy, which is something that is very prevalent in our community because of the systematic removal of the black man from households. And in my opinion, it's very difficult for a woman to raise a man because they're different in nature. Like, we're literally chemically structured differently. Like, we think based on logic, women tend to think on emotion. So it's very difficult for an emotional being to raise a logical being. And then when you have the biological differences begin to surface, which is what you see when the brain starts to develop in the child and they start to think for themselves around that, what do we call it, wake up time? Like consciousness, when you assume consciousness, like your first...
to get your critical thinking starts to kick in.
When your first time, like, you wake up, and that's like the first day that you wake up. You've been, if you know, you know. Everybody should know, but if you were old here, you probably didn't forget. Nah, I was just, but at that point in time, they're going to start to look at things logically, and they are going to start to honestly go back in time and decipher the decisions that you made that they saw when they were younger but didn't interpret. Like, looking back, I could see where the division was sown in my parents' relationship, and honestly be able to understand both of their perspectives, and were full-blown arguments when I was younger. Honestly, the example I'm going to give for, let's say, the newer generations, it's definitely music, definitely social media, which is perpetuating the issue. If you sit up and you play a song in front of your daughter or your son and it's consistently saying F my baby daddy, number one, children are sponges. So they're going to speak what it is that they're hearing even if they don't understand it. Like, just like me and you was singing Negro spiritual R&B songs, didn't even know what the lyrics meant. That's how kids are. And they're going to become a product of their environment. And honestly, you are the one that controls that environment to the best of your ability. You may not have the resources to get out of said environment, but what you can do is control what you're putting into your child as far as, let's say, music, or let's see what they're watching on TV. On a deeper level, your daughter here, F my baby daddy, number one, her vocabulary is being built on cuss words. Number two, she's hearing baby daddy. She's not hearing husband. She's not even hearing boyfriend. She's hearing baby daddy. So you going from 0 to 100 immediately. You didn't skip the boyfriend and the husband stage, which is another aspect where we fall short as a people. There's a lack of marriages in our community. And I mean real marriages, not marriages just because it's money, just because she look good. I mean purpose-driven marriages. I mean strong black families with strong father figures and women that play their role as well. Your family dynamic, y'all may be 50-50 on the bills, but y'all run the businesses together. Or the man may be the one that's doing all the health caring and taking care of the kids, but the woman run the business. Like, whatever your dynamic is, that's between y'all, but there has to be an agreement. That's the whole point in the words say being equally yoked. What is for y'all is for y'all. If you allow social media to influence you, as a lot of our people are followers nowadays, just because honestly, it really ain't nothing else to be. If you don't have a strong father figure telling you right from wrong, you're going to do what everybody else is doing. Especially if they get famous and start to make money off of it, which is what we see with rappers, taking me back to square one. Let's talk about your son. He hear F my baby daddy. He not hearing wife, girlfriend, he hearing baby daddy. So that's what he's going to envision himself as, because everybody in his community doing the same thing, so why wouldn't he be one? Everybody in his community talking about how many hoes they got, so why wouldn't he go try to get as many hoes as possible to flex for his homies or to make him feel good about himself? When you really pouring into a void, that's a void that can't be filled by hoes. Like, that's the saying is, one good girl is worth 1,000. Nowadays it's like 1,000,000. I'm gonna be honest. Nowadays one good girl is worth 1,000,000. Real talk. So just having the vocabulary, like being intentional with the vocabulary, being intentional with what you're putting into your kids. If you already in this situation, you have to, because that's what created the YN community that we know of today. They young products of the environment. If you improve the environment, you improve the child. If you bring structure to the household, you bring discipline to the household. I don't mean hitting your kid across the face. I mean explaining to your child why they shouldn't be doing what it is that they're doing in the first place. And after that, you like, okay, well, if you do it again, I'm taking something from you. Those are forms of discipline. And when you speak to them in a tone that they will hear. Because children, just like people in general, react to tone. They don't react to what you're saying if you yelling at them. So you tell them why they shouldn't be doing it the first time. The second time they do it, you punish them by taking something away. Maybe they PlayStation, if they got a phone, if they old enough. The third time, that's when you start spanking your child. You shouldn't be hitting them in the face. That's when DCFS get involved, and now it's domestic violence and all that. Honestly, society has gotten soft, but that ain't no excuse for you to hit your child in the face. That's just too far. That was too far back in the 90s as well. So spanking your child is absolutely necessary. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I personally, my dad, I was doing some math homework, and I think I said a cuss word and like pushed it away from me. He was like, what? And he walked over. My dad like 6'4". So he, picked me up by my shirt. Like I got a middle school's uniform on. He picked me up by my shirt. I'm like, yeah. Ever since then, bro, honor roll, or I've been trying. If my grades start to slip, like when I got to college, bro, I went from honor roll to I gotta go to tutoring. The tutors don't even speak English. That's a whole tangent. It was an HBCU. It was hilarious. But my dad made me who I am today. My mom, she was there as a nurturer, and that's absolutely necessary. It would have been more effective if I was a woman, but me being a man, my dad had to be there for me to be who I am today. He had to tell me how I should have dealt with situations that I went through and learned on my own before I had a chance to bring it to him. And he had to prepare me for stuff that he went through that he doesn't want me to go through. Taking that out of the household altogether, I would not be who I am today. There are a lot of issues associated with having multiple households. That's if you even have both your parents. I know kids that don't even live with their biological parents. Kids that have a mom, but it's the boyfriend is the closest to a male father figure that they have, and the boyfriend ain't doing the best, whatever. All you hear is, oh, don't tell your mama my business. Don't tell your dad my business. Now, me being a teenager, even before then, I was in single digits. Don't tell your mama my business, da-da-da-da. Now I'm going to and fro, and they asking questions, and you gotta make sure you say it a certain way so she don't get irritated or so he don't get irritated. And oh, that's that stuff I be talking about. And what makes you think I, as the son, want to sit here and listen to you complain about my other parent? Hello. What's going on, y'all? It's Cam from Solutions. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to all the black-owned businesses out there. Shout out to all the HBCUs out there. With that said, I hope y'all enjoy the video and that y'all have a blessed day. I'm bro. If all I hear is you every time you talk about my mom, every time you talk about my dad, you're complaining, what do you expect me to do with my partner? If every time we listen to music, it's F my baby daddy, is drugs, sex, money. Like, what do you expect me to do with my life? What are we supposed to do as the youth? You talk about a YN, he put a ski mask on because, okay, yeah, he a follower. You could choose to be better. Me seeing my dad walking his individualism is probably something that made me the leader that I am today. Had I not had a father figure and all I knew was Lil Durk and G Herbo, I'm going to be in the streets too. Because that's what everybody else around me is doing. Had I lived, we stayed on 75th and Damon, which was we stayed on a decent block. Bro, had I stayed in like a hood and it was a set and I had to be in a gang or I had to tote a pistol just to get to and from school safely, even before I get into high school, I'm saying I've been connecting with teachers, middle school teachers. They confiscating guns off of middle schoolers. Bro, we have to be the ones to change it. When it comes to my woman, I will not allow our children to go through that. Oh yeah, you got to go to your dad's house. Oh yeah, you staying with your dad this weekend? Cause I want to be. Basically, she's saying you staying with your dad this weekend because she want to be with her boyfriend. You go over your dad's house. It's a shorty over there. Where you gonna stay? If your mom with her boyfriend and your dad with his girlfriend, where you gonna stay? Now you have to deal with that. Now you're dealing with their problems. And now all you can focus on is their problems. You can't focus on the purpose that you were created for. You're supposed to be focused on creating your clothing brand, creating your landscaping company, creating whatever it is that you do. But you so busy focused on trying to solve the problems that you inherited because of your parents' decision making that you can't walk in your purpose. And now all you know is, oh, I got to go get this job because, oh yeah, you got to get out of my house when you 18. You go get this job. Society tells you you have to spend money on the holidays. Now you go get a credit card to buy something that you can't afford to impress people that don't like you. Mm-hmm. Now, when they give you them overtime hours at the warehouse, you feel like you have to take them. Now you're a slave. Just because the shackles ain't on your arms and feet no more don't mean you're not a slave anymore. Come on holidays, everybody's spending money. You like, what you gonna do? You gonna go spend money. You gonna ask somebody for something and you gonna feel guilty if you don't have something to give them. And nowadays, sentiment is out the window unless you got a real one. Unless you understand you need a wife, a single individual that you can build with. Bro, hoes is only impressed by materialism. And materialism has to continually be poured into. That's not something that will be appreciated in its entirety. That's the difference between materialism and sentiment. And you wouldn't know that unless you understood that. Unless you had a role model that lived the example. Even though they don't tell me these things, I see how they treat one another. I see how them not having their father figure has affected them as individuals and as parents. Saying it again, because that's very important. This shit is so real, bro. That's why I'm like, you have to be in this video, bro. Like, literally. This is real. This is real life. Who else you gonna sleep at? Your mama with her boyfriend trying to get slain. Your dad is with her girlfriend, with his girlfriend.
Slain?
Bro, where you gonna sleep? Where?
In my bed.
So you coming back. You finna go into the house knowing that your dad is with his girlfriend, finna nail her.
Oh, you talking about it in this grown-up life?
Bro.
I ain't gotta deal with that because I got my own place.
Come on, bro. What about the kids that don't have their own place?
You right.
What about the kids that don't have a choice? They gotta go and listen to this every day.
Yeah. Maybe it could be a talk on now. We dealing with the parents of a certain generation, which is the parents of do as I say, not as I do. So, in that generation of parents, which I put my mother in it, I don't know if your parents maybe fit in it or not, but hey mom, if it's just a little considerate, your guy, or maybe just let me know. I ain't gotta do shit. This my house, I ain't gotta tell your ass nothing. This, that, the third. But you wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to come home, your mama come home, and you in there tear this mug up. You got your foot on her neck and everything. You wouldn't be able to do that appropriately and your mama just be okay with it, you know. So honestly, I don't know what I can say because I've dealt with that, but in different situations. Not that, but like in different, like, well, mama, you do that. How come I can't? You know, is that generation of do as I say, not as I do.
Honestly, I hadn't even thought about that because when you look at it that way, now when you do get your own place, that's the only influence you've ever had. So you're not thinking I'm finna find a woman to build with her. You think I'm finna find a woman I'm finna crush instantly. You thinking I'm finna find somebody that's decent. The little niggas nowadays be saying fine shit. Like, fuck, just be quiet, bro. Like, just be quiet, bro. Like, that's all you thinking. When do we build? When do we intentionally sit down with our partner? Because your spouse is your business partner, whether you know it or not. Whether she's supporting you from the crib with meals or she in the field with you doing the logistics while you do the sales. She's supporting you. That is your partner. Like, partnership is life. Not just laying with her, raising the family. It's life. Discussing bills, like, everything. We need to think that far ahead. We need to have 50 and 100-year schedules. I seen a girl, she from California, running, it's called Black Project 2025. And the whole point is to put, like, black lawyers, basically all the necessary industry professionals in the same area or in the same community, which is absolutely, of course, there was a lot of trolls in there, but when you weed everything out, she got positions assigned. The people that's like the executives, I forgot what the actual positions were, but they were just the team basically. HBCU graduates, alumni, people that's like, that's what's actually necessary for us to rebuild our community. We have to come together because you go out and make 6 figures on your own, like you making 6 figures on your own, you may feel like, oh yeah, I make the most money in my family. But now you're going to go get liabilities that make you live check to check. Don't let them raise the taxes. If you renting, your rent going to go up. If you an owner, your mortgage is going to go up because the taxes just went up. Like, they finna increase the taxes in Chicago. Like, we have to think ahead. We have to think financial literacy. There has to be delayed gratification. There has to be intentionality. All of this is stuff that I've learned from living through my parents' experiences. Like, me and my dad done moved like literally 9 times. Literally 9 times. And my mom, we've been in the same place since I was born. So I've seen different lifestyles. And one of the times that we moved, I literally had that family setting. Like Miss KK in them house. It was only for it was like probably a few months to a year. I don't even remember how long it was. I was in middle school. But it was so cool. She had the Audi. He had the Tahoe. I had a sister and a brother. I was in the basement playing Infamous. Like, it was so clean. It didn't work out, but it was cool. It was actually beautiful. Like, living like that. It was beautiful. And I, like, vividly remember us being in South. We used to stay on Drexel. It's like 100, bro, I forgot what the address was. I think, bro, it was beautiful. Long story short. It's just necessary. We have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Because I'm speaking from experience. You probably can hear the irritation in my voice. I'm irritated to this day because what opportunity has their shortcomings held me back from? And this isn't like a accountability thing. This isn't a, oh, they should have did better thing. This is a spreading awareness so this doesn't become a perpetual issue in our community type of thing. This is a bringing to the attention of said parents that exist now who this is holding accountable, who this is hitting home for. Oh, I hadn't even realized how that affected my child. All of that is important. If you really want what's best for your child, it starts with you. You have to have that long-term mindset, because if you have a short-term mindset, your child is going to have a short-term mindset, and it's going to be passed down. That starts with the relationship. A lot of people think if you don't make money, it don't make sense. If I'm making 6 figures right now, I got one baby mama, two baby mamas. That 6 figures is not 6 figures anymore. I gotta pay my baby mama child support because the courts favor women regardless of what the situation is, honestly. They see you making 6 figures. Number one, you probably working regularly or you in the streets. If you in the streets, that ain't gonna last. If you working regularly, the government is already taking a decent amount of your check in taxes. Come tax time, what you gonna do? You gonna blow it on liabilities because you don't know better. Am I right or am I wrong? Come tax time, everybody's spending their money on something that they don't need. Niggas is not thinking when this tax money come, I'm finna get this property.
Yeah, tax season.
Niggas is not thinking like that. Niggas is, I'm finna get this Louis Vuitton that's gonna be out of style come next year because they intentionally make styles old to force you to know the difference between the new one and the old one. If they kept dropping the same bags every year, you wouldn't buy the new ones. If they didn't intentionally make the product from last year old and do a blowout sale at a discount and drop the new one, they wouldn't be the same brand that they are today. We're literally the method. We are the method. We are the, slaves. This is slavery. It's mental slavery. When you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to control his action. By Carter G. Woodson. What was it called? Oh, it's called The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. For all my history buffs. I know some of y'all really don't care. But for my history buffs that really want to see that what we're dealing with today has been in place since the early 1900s, it's in a document called The Miseducation of the Negro that I learned in Afro AM studies, which is why I always say I'm not for or against college because God definitely used it to teach me a lot of stuff. Long story short, in whatever relationship you go into, you need to have a strategy. If you a man, you have to know how you gonna lead this woman. Because if you don't, the woman is going to try to lead you. And that is not going to work. Because y'all gonna have kids and eventually it's gonna be, what are you doing? Eventually the balance of the household is going to be revealed. The true balance of the household. Y'all may think it's cool that you recessive as the man and the woman doing everything, but eventually she's going to get irritated because that's not her natural responsibility. She's not the logical thinker. Now, women can think for themselves, don't get me wrong, but by nature, men are logical and women are emotional. So when you make the emotional counterpart the decision maker, now you have family decisions being made based on emotion. And I don't know about you, but if you act on emotion every time you had the chance, you'd probably be dead right now. We have to be intentional. And that's why I believe that you should wait until you're married to have children. Because honestly, if you don't feel comfortable marrying this woman, what make you think you feel comfortable having a child with her? Children are more of a commitment than marriage. Marriage can be undone with paperwork and ink. Children cannot be undone. So for it to be all too normal for us to have multiple baby mamas or baby daddies, but not to be married, is backwards. And it is destroying our community. I am a living example. I am grateful. I honestly wouldn't be who I am today had my parents even been together. I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with y'all. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I have both of my parents. And my parents are outstanding. They both do an excellent job in their roles to the best of their ability. My dad didn't even have a dad to use as an example that gave him the blueprint on how to raise a son, but he did it. My mom, she has to be masculine because she want to raise a son properly, don't know how to do it. I'm her one and only child, did the best with what she had. She calling her my... I remember she was talking about I was in church cutting up. She called my grandma. My grandma told her to whoop me. That's important. It really does take a village, bro. It takes a village. Real talk. So if you want the generational curse to end with you, make sure that you marry that girl before y'all have children. Or make sure you marry dude before y'all have children. So with that said, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Man, if y'all enjoyed the video, drop that in the comments. If it's an aspect that I haven't covered, make sure y'all drop that in the comments as well. We do respond to comments, and what y'all drop allows us to create content that y'all need and want to hear moving forward. So with that said, I pray that y'all have a blessed week, and make sure y'all stay warm if y'all up north. I ain't gonna lie. Make sure y'all stay warm. All right, bro. Peace out.